Heroland, the latest offering from developer FuRyu, gives you a game that places dozens of characters in an RPG-themed amusement park where they can build levels, take down Bahamut, and save the princess. When we got our hands on it at E3 2019, childhood dreams seemed realized in video game form. We loved everything we saw, its stylish character models, witty writing, and unique combat. Unfortunately, while all the things that piqued our interest are still here in the full title, Heroland's quirk and imagination lost their luster long before the game's conclusion was reached. Heroland opens on the arrival of the protagonist Lucky at the aforementioned amusement park. To help out his struggling family, he starts working as a tour guide at Heroland, and it's his job to guide people through the dungeons. Soon after Lucky's arrival, his first client shows up, Elric, a prince who has recently been demoted from 1st to 18th in line for the crown. He's come to prove he's worthy of the throne. Elric is soon followed by a huge cast of quirky characters, all seeking their own form of redemption at Heroland. Of course, it turns out there's actually something evil lurking beneath the amusement park, and all these people are there for something besides just having a good time. The story of Heroland is frankly nothing special. While there is some not-so-subtle anti-capitalist social commentary built into the narrative regarding the treatment of the workers at Heroland, the game lacks the teeth to go anywhere with it. The characters, on the other hand, are universally amusing. Whether it's Elric's petulant outbursts, Jason's complete lack of awareness, or any of the other 20-plus characters, they never fail to be delightful. This is in large part due to Xseed's outstanding localization. There's a lot of dialogue here, and I mean a lot, and there isn't a typo to be found. The script is full of meta-commentary on RPGs and pop culture references, and in the early going, all of it lands. Unfortunately, that's the rub. The game is so chock full of jokes that eventually it wears thin. The characters never really move beyond their amusing quirks to become real people, and the few moments of attempted pathos fall flat because nothing else in the game sets you up for them. At first glance, the gameplay in Heroland seems unique enough to be engaging. It's a fairly simple loop. A character approaches you with a problem, or they tell you they want to travel through a dungeon at the park, and you guide them through it. While in the dungeon, you navigate through a connected set of battles with a few breaks for story and dialogue in between. In battle itself, you always have a 4-person party, but you're not directly controlling the action. Rather, characters choose their own actions, and when a meter fills up, you're given the opportunity to tell the character what to do, throw out an item, or change the general strategy for the party. As you guide the party through the dungeon, each member has a satisfaction meter, which is determined by how well they do in battle, how often you give them directions, or how often you choose to give them gifts you find. At the end of each dungeon, the party gains experience and also friendship levels, which opens the character's individual side quests and occasionally unlocks more powerful abilities. Lucky's levels also boosted based on the satisfaction of the party. As his levels go up, he can carry more items and act more often in battle. Early on, this hands-off approach works pretty well. It lessens the general monotony of constantly moving through the menus to select actions and forces you to think strategically. Eventually though, each fight boils down to using the same strategies over and over with little to no variation, and doing very little in battle gets tiring. Luckily, you can speed up battles to make them go quicker, but even that doesn't alleviate the general boredom of the combat and the entirely too linear dungeons. There's little to no character customization either. The only thing you can adjust is the weapons characters carry, and each party member has only one unique skill to distinguish them from their peers. The worst part of the gameplay, bar none, is just how much you have to grind. Each new dungeon has a level recommendation, and each one requires you to bring certain characters with you. While party members who don't go through a dungeon get some experience, it's not enough to keep them up to par when you're forced to use them, sometimes over 20 hours since the last time they were required. Party members were often up to 10 levels below the recommended level, so you have to either engage in the fairly mediocre side missions to grind levels, or go through an old level again, and again, and again. This doesn't happen just once either. Out of the 30 or so dungeons we had to run through, our party was under-leveled for at least 25 of them. While this is part of what Heroland is going for, engaging in the classic trope of grinding, oh boy is it not fun to run through the same dungeons 8 to 10 times before moving on to do the next one. It adds an unnecessary padding to an already overlong game and is simply inexcusable. Hopefully they patch the game to adjust experience curves, otherwise not many people will finish it. Luckily, there's one thing the long playtime doesn't ruin about Heroland: its unique character models. Each of the characters are highly pixelated models on what appears to be a 3D cutout that move, stretch, and gesticulate. It's a wholly original style, which mostly works. While bouncing and moving, the characters are surprisingly effective at communicating their emotions and helping the jokes land throughout the game. The innumerable otters, yes otters, sprinkled throughout the game are especially amusing to watch. Unfortunately, the rest of the graphical presentation is best described as meh. The backgrounds are entirely static and drawn cartoonishly. It's not too much of a problem until you start visiting the same areas of the park and the same dungeons over and over again. There just isn't much happening in the background and it gets stale after a while. The music doesn't do anything to distinguish itself either. While there are a lot of catchy tunes that appropriately match the tone of the game, they play so often that they get very annoying very quickly, and we'd be hard-pressed to identify a single track from the game even now, mere hours after finishing it. Playing Heroland is a little bit like going to a birthday party where the only thing you can eat is cake. Initially, you're excited, and the first few bites are delicious, but as you eat the rest, you feel progressively worse until you get sick and never want to eat cake again. Heroland oozes style and charm, but there's just not enough substance to be satisfying. If the developers had cut about 30 hours off the playtime, adjusted the difficulty curve, and allowed for a little more character customization, we could have been looking at something special here. Instead, we're looking at yet another missed opportunity for FuRyu. So you watched the review, you may have played it. What do you think about Heroland? Let us know in the comments section below. You want to see more of the stuff we do? Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button to get the little dings whenever we release something new. And as always, check out RPGFan.com for all your news, reviews, and more.